Well, would you look at that? Bitcoin decided to show signs of life and awaken from the bearish grave being dug. The bears thought they had control. They thought they had won. But one big green candle has pushed them back into their caves. This sign of life signals to me this ain't over. We are moving into the last hoorah. So are you ready to hoorah with me for the next 10 minutes? Well, you don't have a choice, because it's time for Chico Crypto. Well, let's just dive into the volatile price movements, which for the first time in a long time were up. Yeah, shiznit got real on the exchanges, and Bitcoin broke out. Buys and positions escalated, pushing BTC past 36K, past 37K, past 38K, and even further. On Binance past 39K, past 40K, shoot, the buy wick got all the way up to 48K. What did this price movements do? Well, it wrecked the bears, the shorters. Checking out BYBT for liquidation data, we can see over the past 24 hours, 1.17 billion was liquidated, which came from over 102,000 traders. 102,000 bears are crying in their caves right now, saying, what the freak, you were supposed to crash down to 20K. Now, I've been saying that this is a trap, the great bear trap of 2021 since the crash began. Multiple videos explaining why I think this, although I did think this trap was going to end a tad bit earlier, but now it does look like it's finally ending, and that means the last hoorah. So what is the last hoorah? Well, it's a term I coined for this cycle's last push up, the last pump and bull cycle until we actually do turn full on bearish and go into a true bear winter. This has happened time and time again for Bitcoin throughout its 4-year cycles, with the last 2 cycles having their hoorah come at the end of the year. And if you watch my channel, you know what I think is the peak for this one. We are going to get to 100K, maybe a bit above, maybe a bit below, or maybe right on the dot. But in my opinion, for this last one, we are getting there. But why do I call this one the last hoorah and not just a hoorah? Well, because I think this is the last one where we will see Bitcoin and its price move so crazy like this. And because this one is much different than any cycle before. Why? One word: regulators! They are mounting up and coming after key pieces of how the crypto markets currently function, going right after the plumbing which keeps liquidity pumping through the pipes and the volume flowing. They're going after Binance and Tether USDT. So let's just first start out with the nants, as some suspicious things have been happening lately. Over the weekend, it was announced from Binance and CZ that they would be reducing leverage on their exchange down to a max of 20x in the name of consumer protection. Like they are doing this out of the kindness of their hearts to protect the traders from their own greed. Well, don't believe that for a second. The Binance Twitter has tweeted about their leverage before, basically bragging that over 60% of traders use over 20x leverage, and 21% use 125x leverage. They like the high leverage, and they like it a lot. The only reason for them doing this? To hopefully save their butts from regulators breathing down their necks. So let's just use Google and search by Binance 125x leverage. Number 1 result is a blog from Binance itself on the product and its launch. Well, clicking into it, it's been deleted by Binance. I wonder why. Well, using Wayback Machine, we can see what the blog said. They said this 125x leverage product had built-in risk controls for traders. Much safe, such wow. It says in the blog, its platform uses a unique setup for calculating leverage that enables continuous margin without any jumps and marked prices for preventing unnecessary liquidations and combating market manipulation. Then CEO of Binance said this below. Further, the performance of the Binance futures systems far outstrips many other platforms in the market, giving users a smooth trading experience. The market has been demanding a product with superior stability and performance. Now we are providing one. They were seriously promoting this 125x as safe, and back then they didn't care about consumer protection as the markets were demanding a product like this. So again, I don't believe this is due to Binance thinking in the customer's best interest. This is obviously a regulator appeasing move. More evidence of why I believe this? Well, another exchange the day before, did the same. FTX first cut their leverage down to 20x. Now, if you didn't know, FTX has been getting in bed with the US lately. They have their US-based exchange, FTX.US, and they even entered into a partnership with Miami Heat. And the Heat's arena will be named FTX Arena. But this article proves FTX is in talks with regulators. Just 4 days ago, CoinDesk posted this one. FTX CEO says US is next big target market. In the article, CEO Sam Bankman said, "When you look at FTX US, there's an enormous amount of potential growth in the States. There isn't nearly as much business going on right now as you would expect given the size of the economy. A lot of that is regulatory. It's something that we're working on there. In the US, FTX is in close conversations." So basically, to appease the Americans, FTX lowered leverage on their main exchange. This message was relayed to Binance, aka they told Binance, if you don't want to get bum-fricked by regulators, you better lower leverage. Which makes sense. Binance and FTX were strategic partners, and their number one goal with the partnership, from the blog release, growth of crypto derivative markets. But recently, a breakup happened between FTX and Binance. The FTX exchange bought out Binance's investment in them, releasing all ties between the entities. Decrypt covered this breakup and said this in the article. It's what Bankman-Fried said next when asked for his take on Binance's recent string of regulatory problems. That is most telling. He said, "It's been quite the barrage. I'm not involved in the conversations between them, Binance, and regulators, and so all I can do is speculate. But something I'll say is that we try really hard to be as cooperative as we can with regulators. I think that when you don't do that, and when you sort of appear less flexible or responsive, I think that's more likely to lead to cases where regulators might feel like they have no choice but to start bringing the hammer." Later he added, "I think there are some differences between how we run our businesses. I think there are ways I would have reacted, responded, and run things differently." Decrypt continues. Bankman-Fried is being careful not to say he bought out Binance's shares in order to distance his company from Binance. So I'll do it for him. That's obviously the reason. Even Binance's longtime partner knows things are not looking good for them. They are trying to distance themselves. So be warned, Binance users, especially if you are US still using it. Binance is being probed by the CFTC in the US, which has been ongoing since March of this year. We haven't heard anything yet regarding this. We're 5 months in. And remember, BitMEX was probed and investigated in a similar fashion. Just an announcement of if they allowed US traders to trade on their exchange, and the probe. It was about a year before charges were brought against the founders, as they did allow US traders. Everyone knew that. Binance took over where BitMEX left off, taking over leverage and allowing US traders. Everyone knows that. But Binance is just one piece of the Last Hoorah puzzle. If CZ is going to face the wrath of regulators, in my opinion, why not pull off a Last Hoorah and pump those markets? But there is another piece of this Last Hoorah, Tether USDT. They got a probe of their own. Yesterday it was announced that Tether executives might be facing a criminal probe into bank fraud. From the article, the probe is coming from the Department of Justice, and the article said, federal prosecutors have been circling Tether since at least 2018. In recent months, they sent letters to individuals alerting them that they're targets of the investigation, one of the people said. The notices signal that a decision on whether to bring a case should be made soon, with senior Justice Department officials ultimately determining whether charges are warranted. A criminal case announcement against Tether execs could be coming soon? We are 5 months away from the start of the Binance probe. Wouldn't that be convenient, crazy, coinky dinky if charges were announced and brought against the two around the same time, say towards the end of the year? Which would mean pumps for the rest of the year if it's coming to an end then. But it's nice to see the pump here recently. But be careful and don't get too caught up in the coming bull hype. The old Bitfinex put out a tweet showing pumps usually come after bad Tether news. He said, December 6, 2017, CFTC subpoenas Bitfinex. December 7th, 2017, Bitcoin up 40% in 24 hours. March 28th, 2019, Bitfinex figures out NYAG is going to spill the beans on the $850 million loss and cover-up. April 1st, 2019, instant bull market. April 25th, they're sued. Plenty more where that comes from. And there is. March 12th, Binance probe is announced. In the days before and after the 12th, Bitcoin pumped from around 48K to over 61K, a pump of over 27%. Even at those high numbers, which takes a lot of liquidity to move that price. You gotta realize that Binance and Tether are like two peas in a crypto pod. Going to Tether's rich list, Binance is the largest holder of USDT out there by a long shot. Binance is the facilitator of Tether and a cooperative partner, or they wouldn't have a wallet of that size. So if you've been following the drama whatsoever in Tetherland, you understand things may be coming to an end, not only from the outside with regulators, but from the inside with what backs their asset. We know now it's not backed by dollars, but commercial paper. And Bitfinex tweeted July 23rd, I hope this isn't Tether's commercial paper. See how it's important to know what kind of Chinese commercial paper Tether owns? Makes you wonder why they won't say. They refuse to deny holding Chinese commercial paper, and he includes a picture of Chinese companies and their market caps getting absolutely obliterated last week. So if it's Chinese commercial paper from a bunch of China hustle companies is what backs Tether USDT, all I have to say is yikes, get ready for the Last Hoorah. Cheers, I'll see you next time.